Hello, everybody. This is Lance from Filmoscopy. Today's episode is a emergency episode. We're doing a review of the newly released Halloween Ends in theaters now as of October 14th and on the Peacock Network, so you can watch it from the safety of your home free of charge. Well, I mean, you have to pay for Peacock Network, but you get it for like $5 a month, and you can watch Halloween Ends for free. Today's episode is going to be involved Cody, myself, and a former guest host who's been on a few episodes with us named Alex, my best friend, and the one I've mentioned quite a few times. He has his own podcast, I'll Take Three, so if you get a chance, look them up and listen to their archive. Owen's not going to be on today's episode because he had a trip planned out and forgot about it and let us know about 4 or 5 days ago. He's like, oh, kind of forgot, guys. I was like, oh, cool. It's just Owen. But he's a rich, successful man, so we don't fault him and we love him. I wanted to dedicate today's episode to my grandmother, Wanda. She passed away in January 2021, and I've mentioned her quite a few times. When it comes to movies, I'd say she's at least, I would say at one point in my life, she was the top influence on the movies I watched. And she's definitely still in the top 3 overall. But if it wasn't for her, I would never have been introduced to Halloween or the Psycho franchise or the Friday the 13th franchise especially. But there's many other movies that she's introduced me to that I watched. And, you know, before I got a chance to watch my first Halloween, which was Halloween 2, and before I got to watch my first Friday the 13th, which was Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, she, gave me a baseline of the story. So I was expecting things, but I was excited to see them, because I was a kid and I was constantly asking questions. And I was just, so excited, and I finally got to watch these movies. She got to watch Halloween 2018, which was the first movie of this David Gordon Green trilogy of Halloween movies. It was a sequel 40 years later, ignoring all the other sequels, and I don't think we've covered that one on the podcast. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before because we did cover Halloween Kills last year, and Halloween Kills is the second one, and Halloween Ends is the third one. I just wish that she was still here, that I could talk to her about these movies, because that's who I would be talking to about these Halloween movies, would be her. And I'm extremely fortunate that I get to do it with my best friends on this podcast, and I'm extremely fortunate to have people out there that actually listen to our podcast. So it kind of validates, the fact that you have an opinion, that people listen to you. So, but it's just one of the, it's something that, in the back of my mind, it's it's there when I think about it. It's like, I wish I could really talk to my grandmother, and just I would talk to her about so many other things other than this Halloween movie. But this is something that brings it back to the forefront, of my mind, And I miss her, and I miss talking to her about movies and quoting movies like I used to do, and she always got a kick out of that. But if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been introduced to this franchise that I love dearly in Halloween. And, it's a big talking point between me and Alex and me and Cody at times. So it's something that's a gift that keeps giving. So this episode is dedicated to my grandmother, and thanks for listening.
Let me fucking scoot back a little so I don't punch the microphone. Hey, come listen to our podcast, yeah. Please listen, it's a hitch. If you don't listen to our podcast, yeah, then you are a bitch.
On this episode, we are talking about Halloween Ends. The film was directed by David Gordon Green. It is a continuation of the 40th anniversary timeline, I guess you could call it. The film stars Jamie Lee Curtis coming back as Laurie Strode, and it has a few other people in there that no one gives a shit about. The music is done by John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, and Daniel Davies. The film was produced by Blumhouse Productions, which I will say I really dug the new Blumhouse intro thing that they had in the beginning. The film.
You mean the Halloween 3 stuff?
Well, I'm talking about how it.
The Blumhouse card
stuff. Yeah, you see Michael and all that. The film has a runtime of 111 minutes. It was released on October 14th, 2022. It had a budget of $20 to $30 million. It's apparently not clear.
That's a lot for a Blumhouse movie.
Yeah, and as of this recording, it has a box office of $20.2 million. I'm sure that by the time the weekend's over, it'll probably be, double that at least. So, all right, Lance, I'll let you take it away from there.
All right. Hello, everybody. You heard me in the spoken intro at the beginning of this episode. We have a guest host today, and I'll introduce Cody. He just did his little soliloquy there, and I'm Lance, a guest host who's been on at least 2 episodes. It was on Mortal Kombat and on Christmas Vacation, I believe.
Yeah.
Alex from his podcast, I'll Take 3, which is kind of dormant right now, but hopefully he's going to make a comeback soon. And, so Alex, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I don't know when we're coming back. We keep talking about it and doing nothing about it.
You got to be about it, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, of course, you guys have kids too, so it's a little different for me and Cody and Owen. We don't have kids.
Yeah, that's the tough thing right now is for the whole time we recorded, and I think we did it for like a year and a half, we always recorded at night after the kids were in bed, but it was hard for Jacob. And he was like, if we start up again, we have to record during the day. And so that's kind of been what's holding us back.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, as the kids get a little older, you can just put on an educational program on the TV and just go hit record. And people like it when kids interrupt podcasts. I think it's cute. So, unless I guess they're screaming bloody murder. Like, oh, God!
I just pooped my pants.
I appreciate that, Logan. I'll be in there in a minute. But, Alex, I was going to ask you, since you've only been on those 2 episodes. Well, obviously, we ask everybody. Well, it's just been us 3. But you and Jacob, what's your first experience with the movie? Since this is a new release, I'm just going to ask you, what was your first experience of the Halloween franchise, and what movie really hooked you into really liking the franchise? Because you've seen them all like I have.
Yeah, the first one I remember seeing, I think I rented it from the local rental place where I grew up, was H2O. And because I started watching the Friday the 13th first, I liked the Jason movies first. And I knew, obviously, about Michael Myers, but I hadn't watched any of them. So that was the first one I watched. I thought it was good. I mean, it was recent, at the time. It was only a few years old. And it wasn't a bad movie. It was not the same as
it's not Jason. Yeah,
I still liked it. It just didn't hook me the same way. And then when I got older, I ended up watching the first Halloween around the same time, and it was at that time I was like, this is kind of stupid. I couldn't appreciate the movie for what it was because I was like 12 years old and I just thought it was old. And then I rewatched Halloween later and I really liked it, and so that was the first time it kind of hooked me. And it wasn't until a few years ago I actually went through and watched the whole series. When Gorley and Rust covered them is what made me go through and watch all the sequels, because I hadn't seen any of them besides H2O. I had seen Resurrection. That was the other one. And then I had seen Zombie's first movie, Rob Zombie's first one. And then I watched them all, and I loved it. It's pretty close up there with the Jason movies. Not quite the same, but it's all really good.
Yeah, it's funny because for anybody that doesn't know, Paul Rust and Matt Gorley are like two comedians, and they're also show writers. And I know Rust has starred in a few shows.
Yeah.
At least. I'm not trying to downplay it. I just never watched any of the stuff. But Alex introduced me to the podcast they had at the time when it was called In Voorhees We Trust. And they were covering the Friday the 13th movies. And it was like fucking awesome. And then the next go around, they waited about 6-7 months. And then they did In Myers We Trust. And they did a little bit where they kind of changed, I think, Gorley's last name to kind of rhyme with Myers and whatever like that. And they did the Halloween movies like the next year. And it was obviously, they're great podcasts. Anybody ever gets a chance to listen to them on Patreon or on their regular
they put them out free too.
Yeah, they're fucking great. So yeah, and it was really funny because I know you watched them because of the Gorley and Russ podcast, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I'd always wanted to. Like, it wasn't like I stayed away from them, but that gave me a reason to do it because I wanted to listen to the episodes along with them, but I didn't want to spoil the movies for me. So it pushed me to do it.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. Because I'm thankful to Alex. Alex introduced me to podcasts in general. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have started this little journey I got. And Cody's talked about podcasts before. I'm just like, I ain't gonna listen to podcasts. And then Alex, like literally the first podcast I sat down to listen to was In Voorhees We Trust. I'm like, hey, this shit's pretty good. So I started looking around and listening to other things, and now I'm like subscribed to like 30 podcasts.
Yeah, so it's addictive.
You know, it very much, especially when I'm at work. Like, my job, I walk around. I got a little black headphone in my ear, kind of covered up by my hair, and I just listen to stuff so I don't kill people. So I don't turn into Corey Cunningham. And but it is funny, like it changes your perception of Halloween if you've seen Friday the 13th first. And I spoke in the little intro I did earlier for this podcast. I talked about like my grandmother loved the Halloween and Friday the 13th movies, and I had a baseline of the story before I watched them, but it wasn't like, because I was so young, it didn't spoil anything for me. I was just looking forward to see how it played out. And the first movies I saw were Friday the 13th Part 6 and Halloween 2. So, you know, and they've been ingrained with me ever since, pretty much because Jason and Michael wear masks is like the ground thing. It's almost like watching a professional wrestler, but they're just murdering people.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's just kind of like, you know, how it got stuck with me. Now, Cody, we talked about this on Kills, but I just want to make sure you haven't watched all the Halloween movies, correct?
That would be correct, Mr. Corber.
No last names. No last names.
Mr. Smith. I've only seen the first one. I think I've seen a little bit of Halloween 2 on TV when I was a kid. I've seen the third one.
You're welcome.
Resurrection. Resurrection is the Busta Rhymes one, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I've seen
Trick
that
or
one.
treat, motherfucker.
That's hilarious that was one that you watched, and that was one I had watched when I was younger.
Could you imagine if that was the first ones you guys watched?
Oh
like,
God. Holy
shit. You're like, I'm never watching these movies again.
Well, I think Resurrection probably was the first one I'd ever seen in its entirety.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oof.
Because I didn't watch the first one until like last year or the year before. And like I said, I'd only ever seen like parts of Halloween 2 when it was on TV. Beyond
Didn't you see the zombie one too?
I watched like the first half of the first Rob Zombie one when I was in high school, and I was like, this is boring as fuck, and just stopped watching it. And then I've seen
that was
all
a good choice.
And I've seen all of the newer ones, the David Gordon Green movies.
Well, it's gonna be kind of weird when we try to do a ranking at the end of this, but me and Alex got it covered on that part.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to leave it
ever
up to
since
you
me and
two.
Alex have been friends, we've talked about these movies too, and I've talked to Cody about getting him to watch the movies, but when I let him borrow stuff, Cody just doesn't watch it, and he'll give it back to me 8 months later and be like, "Yeah, I never watched it." So it's like this with Owen. So if I ever want them to watch a movie, I have to suggest it for the podcast because they have to watch it at that point. And then I want to go, sorry guys, I'm going to New Orleans for the weekend. I can't do the podcast. Like, fuck you, okay?
I was going to say, because I was texting you earlier, and I was like, you got to tell me what Owen thinks of it. And you were like, oh, he's probably not going to watch it.
Oh, yeah. He's not going to watch it. It's just funny because he's not a big slasher fan. Like, Owen is kind of like Cody in a way when they're more snobbish about the movies than I am. I don't mind eating it at an all-you-can-eat buffet. And Cody's like, I'd rather go to a steakhouse, you know. Because Cody's the one person, and Alex won't appreciate this, but anybody in Springfield that may listen to this, Cody's the one person that actively doesn't want to go to the Catfish House. And that's pretty, like, ridiculous, in my opinion. But Cody's like, I want to go somewhere else. I'm like, all right, Cody, look, we got to discuss this friendship thing, okay? Because this isn't working.
Yeah, we may have talked about it before. But slasher movies are not high up on like my horror preference. I think when it comes to slasher films, I'm really into Nightmare on Elm Street, and everything else is just sort of like I guess I am kind of snobbish when it comes to slasher films because a lot of it I'm just like.
But you're more of like into like the supernatural, like
yeah,
I was gonna
ghost and haunting stuff, right?
Right, yeah.
I was going to ask, is that the type of horror movie that got you into liking horror? Because I know you do like those.
No, well, no, not really, because I've watched horror pretty much my entire life. My older sister used to kind of torment me with Nightmare on Elm Street when I was like really
Dude, that
young,
was
like
my
4
older
years old.
sister, too. She
like,
loved
I remember her
Freddy
locking
Krueger.
me outside one night and saying that Freddy was coming to get me, and me just like standing outside screaming and crying.
Oh my god.
But I would say that like I really started getting into horror movies in like the early to mid 2000s, like movies like The Ring, The Grudge, actually the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Those are like some of the first ones that I remember watching and being like, oh, I really like horror movies. And then of course as the 2000s went on, horror kind of like took a hard dip. It wasn't until like the early like 2010s that it started kind of coming back up into good quality again.
Okay. Oh, that was boring. No, I'm just kidding, Cody. So I got distracted by something on TV, so apologize. I'm sure Cody will bust my chops at some point on this episode. I guess, well, we got the background laid. I mean, we could probably talk for 2 hours about our backgrounds of these movies, but we'll go ahead and get into the subject at hand. The final Halloween movie they're ever going to make, wink, wink, nod, nod. It's probably going to happen again, but they're going to have to reboot it. And, it's funny, as I want to think about this, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even though it's not as widely as accepted as Halloween and eventually as Friday the 13th, they're the groundbreaking franchise when it comes to slashers. And, they are the ones that had the first reboot remake in 2003 that inspired Halloween to do it in 2007, Friday the 13th in 2009. In fact, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake has the same producers and same director, and I'm pretty sure the same writer as the Friday the 13th remake 6 years later. And then obviously the Freddy Krueger remake. Well, in 2013, they did the thing where they ignored all the sequels except for the first movie and made a, 30 years later movie, which that movie isn't really great because me and Alex and his brother Jacob, who's also been on the podcast, went to go see it in the movie theater and it sucked. But 5 years later, Halloween does it again where they ignore all the sequels except for the first one and they do a 40 years later movie. So Halloween's always been kind of like, even though Texas Chainsaw doesn't have the recognition as Halloween, as I would say, that Halloween's always been kind of copying them with like, okay, well, this worked for this franchise. Let's try it here, So that's what Halloween 2018 was like, okay, let's start this over. And then they said they had this idea for a trilogy. And after this movie, I have a really hard feeling that they didn't have an idea for a trilogy. And they were struggling to come up with things right.
I think that's probably right.
I'll get a quick synopsis of my 3 movies. I tweeted it out. Halloween 2018 is a remake of the original Halloween with references stolen from the other Halloween sequels, disguised as tributes. Halloween Kills is a Friday the 13th movie with Michael in it. And Halloween Ends is a partner in crime / romance movie, which is really fucking weird.
A romance that didn't make any sense, by the way.
And it was a 4-day romance, too. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, I was obsessed with my first girlfriend. I'll go ahead and admit that. But it took me a couple months to get really obsessed. It didn't take me 3 days. I'm like, fuck you, Grandma. I'm leaving.
And that actually brings me to one of my notes. One of my notes is Allison is ready to leave everything behind with a guy that she barely knows. Like, I understand him.
No risk it, no biscuit.
I remember I understand him becoming obsessed with her because he is kind of an outcast and all that, but why she becomes like so into him doesn't make any sense to me. And the fact
thing
that
about
they're
that
only in a relationship for a few days is like, and she's like, "Oh, I'm ready to leave everything with you." It's like, that's nuts.
With her getting so into him too, it's like she really likes how damaged he is, and then like a day later he's all brooding and badass and stuff, and she still likes him even though he's like a completely different person.
Oh yeah,
it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it doesn't because you're right, he is like a completely different person. Like on the second day that they're together, it's like, all right,
yeah,
whatever.
His transformation in this movie is pretty fucking sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only thing I can compare it to, and anybody that's ever watched the classic Power Rangers, you meet Tommy, who becomes the Green Ranger, but he's a bad guy at first, but he's a normal human. He literally gets put underneath Rita's magic spell and he's evil. That's the only other time I can remember somebody changing this fucking fast.
Well, and that
was over the course of 5 episodes. And this was this is 10 minutes.
It's like the fact that Michael decided to spare him, like trigger his like psycho gene or something. That's another thing that doesn't make any sense in this. It's like, and
or can he just see it inside him like that?
Yeah, and then like he's like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start bringing people down here so that Michael can kill them. It's like, okay, that also doesn't make any sense. Like, it just
Go ahead, Cody.
Sorry, I was just gonna say it's just the surface of the issues that I have with this film.
I agree, and the thing that just dawned on me as a comparison, if you've ever watched any of the first, because they've rebooted it and done it so many times, a Dracula movie, he always gets an assistant that lures victims for him, like the first movie. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he always has somebody that kind of feeds on insects because Dracula treats him like he's the lowest of servants and everything like that. And that's what this kind of feels like in a moment when Michael and him have that Lady and the Tramp moment where they're eating spaghetti and then they kiss down in the sewer, and then they just like, hey, we're best friends now. Like, it's almost like the Step Brothers thing, Alex.
Yeah.
Like, did we just become best friends? Yup. And even one of them has curly hair.
Yeah, and I don't know, but that moment when when he lures that first guy.
Go ahead, Cody. I gotta watch this real quick. Hold on.
For everyone who doesn't know, Lance is distracted by the UT Alabama game going on right now.
Well, yeah, because it's a local school and they're playing Alabama, so they just call timeout. The Tennessee's in range to kick a field goal to win the motherfucker. So, but yeah, go ahead, Cody. The whole thing, it's just the Step Brothers. Like, we become best friends. Yup. And I'm not trying to shit on this movie. I'm going to end up shitting on it, and Alex is going to be more positive than me and Cody. But it's just a frustrating movie because it's fucking boring.
Yeah.
They don't kill anybody till 50 minutes in. It's only an hour and 45-minute movie with credits.
It is boring. And the fact that...
Well, they do kill the poor little kid who is also a jerk-off.
Okay. Alex had a very genuine reaction when that happened. I laughed both times I've seen it.
I will say...
Because it felt like something you've seen in a scary movie. Like, ah!
Well, it wouldn't have been... I think it would have been more impactful if, like, when he kicks the door open, you don't hear the little kid just go, ah! And then, like,
yeah.
It's like, that kind of throws it off. Because then you know what's coming. He's falling down the stairs.
The effect of him dying, like, is too over the top.
But yeah, like, the impact of the kid's death was just kind of like, all right, whatever. And then...
Okay, can we talk about the actual impact, though? Because... I don't know what it looks like when somebody falls in real life. I try not to watch real life tragedies on videos that people post. But when the kid fell, it felt like, and Alex said earlier when we were just bullshitting, that the violence kind of felt over the top and almost cartoonish. And for me, that was a cartoonish fall. It was like, oh! And it was like, I mean, I've played Mortal Kombat so much.
Well, I think that's a carryover from. I think that's a carryover from Halloween Kills too, because I know that was a big issue that we had with that movie, where everything was just so over the top and almost silly. And then, like, of course, there's a whole scene where like the mentally ill guy gets killed, and then like they that moment actually had a lot of levity to it until they basically treat his head like it's a rotten pumpkin. And it's just like, all right,
I think thinking of slasher movies, like, you want to have a good time watching the kills, and when they're this violent, like, it's not fun to see that.
No,
no, it's not. It's like you said, these last two movies, and not so much this one because, like I said, it's kind of boring. But Halloween Kills was as close to a Rob Zombie Halloween as we were going to get, and golly damn, this movie, like. And the kills are not even.
They're not clever, really.
They're not inventive.
Yeah.
They do. He does it like he pins her against the wall, stabs the knife in her stomach, and pins her against the wall, and turns his head to the left. That's a callback to Halloween 1. That's cool. I like that.
That was the one kill I liked in this movie.
Yeah, and then one thing, we're jumping around because it's just a quick review. When Michael kills Corey. This motherfucker got shot twice, fell downstairs, stabbed himself in the jugular, and still was fucking awake when Michael was trying to grab the knife. And it's like, what the fuck is going on, people?
Well, I had the same issue.
We're talking about these people not being supernatural.
I had the same issue
go ahead, Cody.
When Laurie kills Michael at the end. Like, she slits his throat, he's been stabbed and beaten, and then like she slits his wrist, and he's still alive. It's like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh, it takes forever.
How much can he possibly bleed out? And they go back and forth on this whole supernatural thing, because we talked about it when we talked about Kills. They kind of lean more into the supernatural aspect of it. Because like at the end, especially when he's being like attacked by all the townspeople, and it's like, oh, he should probably be dead right now, but he like stands up like he's Ultimate Warrior in WrestleMania or something. And
hell yeah,
then,
but that's more like Ultimate Warrior Royal Rumble 1989 when he attacked a bunch of officials after he was sneak attacked by Rick Rude.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
The way they
this.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Alex. Just to finish my thought. In this, in the beginning, he's like injured, like he can't even move like half of his body, and then like he starts killing people, and it's like it heals him. It's like, is he supernatural or not? Like, I don't understand what they want.
Yeah, and then it kills with a supernatural, and he's just such a badass the way he disposes all those guys, and then the firefighters too at the beginning it kills, and it was all building up to turn him into a feeble old man in this movie. Like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there is a point, and it's especially funny when like Corey goes to take the mask from Michael, and it genuinely feels like someone trying to like fight his grandpa off for like a TV remote or something. I mean, it's like, man, this is not good.
It's like, Grandpa, you gotta go to bed. And I told Alex when he sat up, and Alex kind of likes this scene, and we'll let him talk about it. When Corey grabs the mask and he's crawling out of the sewer military style, like, I got the mask or whatever. Michael sits up and he looks at the camera, and I didn't see it, like, because I didn't have my glasses on, but it almost felt like Michael was looking at the camera going, what the fuck just happened? You guys see that?
I told Kristen when we were watching this, that him sitting up there, I was like, this feels like Undertaker wrestling way over the hill, man. What is he doing?
Oh my god. That I didn't think about that. That's really good because Taker was overweight in that match too. You know what's even funnier, and this is something that's just stuck in my scene, in my crawl. People, this episode we're not going to go beat by beat because it's just like, let's just get our thoughts out of this podcast. When Michael and Corey kill the doctor and the nurse, In the next scene, you see Corey on the motorcycle, and it pans over and you see Allison behind him. I swear to God, both times I watched that movie, I thought Michael was going to be behind him. On the motorcycle. Like, we just got done. Like, that would have just completely turned this movie around for me at this point. Like, okay, we're going balls to the wall crazy. But I literally thought, he's over here smiling, and then you see her smiling, hugging him. I'm like, I was waiting for Michael's hand to come up behind him and start hugging him. Like this is how they're transporting Michael so quick, is on his motorcycle. And Savannah, my girlfriend, everybody knows it's my girlfriend now. I don't have to do kayfabe anymore.
Oh, snap.
She said that she thought it was Michael too. She started laughing because she thought it was going to be Michael behind him. Do you guys know what scene I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Because when that scene popped up, I didn't think that, but the first thought that came across my mind is, oh, I guess killing people just makes this guy like super horny or something. Because it's like he kills somebody and then he goes to see Allison.
He goes from like nerd me in like ninth grade. I'm like, yeah, excuse me, and then all of a sudden like, I said leave her alone. I'm like, okay, he just turned into Batman.
Yeah, it's like what Alex was saying earlier. He's a completely different person. You're right. He goes from like the feeble, nerdy, like, oh, he's in tears most of the time, to being like, yeah, I've got a leather jacket and a motorcycle and I'm a badass. It's like the transformation doesn't make any sense.
So talking about like the doctor scene too, because I understand when he takes the mask, like Michael's trying to get his mask back and everything, but is Michael just following him around to the doctor's office? He's like, I want to kill people too. I don't get that.
I hope that's what it is.
Yeah, that plays.
I hope he's just following on like a puppy dog.
I don't understand. Yeah, that goes back to like whenever he grabs him earlier and lets him go, and then like he starts bringing people to him. It's like, how is this agreed upon? They don't speak to each other. So like, is it like Michael transferred part of his being into Corey something?
That Lady in the Tramp scene, which doesn't make any sense because the Michael in 2018 and in Kills, which are the first two movies of this trilogy, if you're not adding that, keeping track, people, Michael's aggressive as fuck in those movies. Michael kills a little kid in a vehicle to steal the vehicle in Halloween 2018. And Alex and Cody just said he turned into a John Cena Ultimate Warrior hybrid and killed like 45 people in 2 different settings. And all of a sudden, he's grabbing him by the throat. They make eye contact, and it's like one of those memes where you see all these flashbacks. Like there's a stupid meme of this cat, and somebody puts a flower on this cat's head, and the girl starts singing. Well, the cat starts staring, and people will put in the background some dude's voice like, the mysteries are being solved, and they show like this big universal thing, and the Big Bang's happening, all this other crap. And it was really weird. Like he's standing, like, is Michael seeing what he's done, or like that scene didn't make any sense to me.
I think it would have been better, like, if they weren't going to explain it. Like, don't even show the flashbacks. Just let him look at him and let him go, and you wonder what's happening instead of you trying to understand how it happened.
That would make too much sense.
Yeah,
Alex.
how he got from.
Now you're thinking with logic,
Yeah, see, the opening of the movie kind of threw me off too, because it says like Halloween 2019 or whatever. I'm trying to think. Didn't the other 2 movies take place?
Yeah,
that was supposed to be a year after
and then,
that.
Yeah, and then it's like, I mean, I figured they were trying to set something up with him killing the kid, but at the same time, it's like I can't really figure out what they're going for. And then, of course, Magic Mike touched his neck and turned into a psychopath.
I was trying to cough there and it cut me off. Magic Mike, I like that. It's there. I'm sure Alex has seen these videos. I don't know if Cody has. They made fun of like the Chris Angel. The guy's named David Bain or something like that.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Stop putting orange soda in my mouth, David Bain," and he keeps spitting it out. And it's really like fucking. And he keeps looking at the camera when he does it. And that's what it almost feels like with Michael, like this supernatural thing. They've tried to tiptoe around it because they didn't want to make Michael supernatural because he was quote unquote less scary for the 2018 movie. That's what Danny McBride said in an interview. Well, it's just less scary if he's supernatural and chasing after his sister. Well, look, he's pretty much supernatural in that first movie. and he's supernatural and kills pretty much. And you guys say that he gets stronger after every kill, is what they said in Kills.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, that movie Kills they were trying to make Michael the personification of evil. Like, okay, this is what this is. And at the end of this movie, Laurie's like, you're not evil, you're not the boogeyman, you're just a man with a Halloween mask. And then that line's really cringy at the end. She goes, you're a man that's about to stop breathing. And then she slices his throat. Lame. And she's like, it's over. All of a sudden his hand pops up, cut in half, and grabs her by the throat. And I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, surprise, motherfucker!
Do it. Do it.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
did you all pick up on the?
I gotta get this off my chest because people are claiming this movie is subversive, and we've discussed this on this podcast. Me, Owen, and Cody famously about The Last Jedi. How Rian Johnson and Alex still loves this movie. Yeah, and I'm kind of like, yeah. And now Cody hates this movie. So me and Cody have done like 180s on each other. But thank you, Cody.
Sorry, that was me.
I'm like, thank you, Cody. I'm like, wait.
I did lean away from the mic, but I didn't think about the headphones.
Like that movie, they try to be subversive. Subversive. I was about to say submersive. I'm like, no one's getting drowned in that movie. Trying to be subversive in that movie by changing your expectations, which, we can, we'll disagree on if it worked or not. And then Episode 9 was just a complete miss because they were trying to fix what the fans, quote unquote, hated, and they just put all this fan service in. Whereas Halloween Kills felt like they were trying to do something different, but ended up missing the mark completely from what they were saying the movie was going to be. And then this movie is subversive because I'm like, the whole advertisement for this movie is about Michael Myers because it's a fucking Halloween movie. Like I said, this movie is like an hour 45 with credits. And there's like 25 minutes of Michael in it. It's about this whole thing. This movie is a 1980s romance. Like, dude on the motorcycle, leather jacket, and he's a badass. And it's like, this is not a Halloween movie. And me and Alex were talking about it earlier. I'll let Alex expand on it. If this was the middle movie of the trilogy, and either they killed Michael and they went with a new killer in the next one, or they didn't kill Michael and that movie was geared up to be like this big fan service thing. Because to be quite honest with you, I think a final film in the trilogy should be kind of fan servicey because the fans have stuck with you this long. This movie was just a weird note to end on because it becomes this completely different movie, or it was this completely different movie from the beginning till about an hour 25. And then Michael takes the forefront. And then it turns into Michael versus Laurie again. Where it's like, okay, we've already seen this in Halloween. We've seen this in Halloween 2. We've seen this in Halloween H2O. We've seen this in Halloween Resurrection. We've seen this in Halloween 40, which is Halloween 2018. Like, how many more times we got to see this?
Yeah.
And the fight in H2O was better, I'll say.
I want to add to that about it being like better as a second movie, because the kills, the ending being that he's obviously, how are we gonna beat this guy, yada yada yada, like that could have been the same thing that they did if they put this story in there. Like, have Michael after 2018 be kind of defeated and feeble, and somebody else is trying to be the new Michael and Corey, but then at the end have Michael defeat him and Michael is back and badder than ever, and then you're ready to come into the third movie with a battle between him and Laurie. Like, that would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have played a lot better, like you're saying, because especially if you did just swap the stories where Halloween Kills, he goes on like an absolute rampage, have him do that in the third film, and then you are left wondering how are they going to take him out, and then when Laurie defeats him at the end, it's much more satisfying. Whereas this, it's just like, it feels kind of hollow because he doesn't kill hardly anybody. I don't think he kills anybody on his own. I think it's always with help from
He kills the
somebody
doctor.
else. Even
not
killing
the doctor,
Corey.
the nurse.
The nurse. That's the only one he kills by himself.
He kills the nurse, yeah. But like, even like Corey at the end, I mean, he kills him, but he's already like, well, he should already be dead. I mean, it's ridiculous that
this
he's
shit,
not.
Okay. again, the movies are not supposed to be supernatural. But they also lean into the fact that this random mask that Michael grabbed out of a store in 1978 is supposed to be like the key to his power. Because Corey puts on the mask, and then like he's stomping a girl's head in. He's doing all the shit Michael would do. Like this little scrawny little punk would not be able to do this kind of stuff in a day. I'm just gonna be completely honest. And the only thing that like some of Michael's evil transfers over to him, but they already did that in Halloween 4 with Michael's niece at the time, Jamie Lloyd. That storyline at the end. They kind of say that his evil's passed on to her because they were intending for that to be the end for Michael again. And so she's evil and she stabs her adopted mother at the end of the movie, and she's dressed up like a clown covered in blood like Michael was, and that's the end of the movie. Well, Danielle Harris, who played in Rob Zombie's Halloween movies, but she was Michael's niece in Halloween's 4 and 5, and she was like 10 years old when she did the role the first time. She said that she thought when she come back in Halloween 5 that she would be Michael's little sidekick and they'd be killing people together. And they literally did that in this fucking movie. Like, he has a sidekick now. I'm like, they literally...
just speaking of that aspect of it, the whole sidekick thing and like him getting the power from Michael's mask, I think the story could have worked a lot better if we didn't know that he was going around killing people wearing Michael's mask. Like, if they would have set it up a lot better that you don't see Corey interact with Michael, and then like later on it's like revealed like, oh, this isn't Michael Myers, and then Michael shows up at the end. It could have played better. But when you know that he's going to go around killing people because you see him tackle old man Mike and take the mask from him, and it's like it doesn't hit well. It's very flat because I don't care that he's going around killing people. I don't care what happens to him. This character is someone who's introduced and killed off in the same film.
That is very true. There was another thing, Alex, because you watched all the Friday the 13th movies along also with me.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th Part 5, they did the copycat killer. And this kind of feels like that in a way. And I also told you when we were like bullshitting around that I remember like me and you universally hate for Jason Goes to Hell.
Mm-hmm.
The director said in that movie, and if anybody ever watched that movie, spoiler alert, you see Jason for the first 10 minutes. He blows up. They take his carcass to the coroner's office. The coroner eats his heart and is possessed by Jason. And then from that point on, when the bodies get used up, Jason has his little dick worm coming out of his mouth, and he impregnates the other person through their mouth, and they become Jason. And at the end of the movie, this Jason creature goes up his dead... And by the way, Jason has a sister after 9 movies. This dick creature goes up his dead sister's private regions, and he gets reborn. This is a fucking stupid-ass movie, but, it also has the production quality of a Power Rangers episode. The director said he wanted to take Jason away, and then by the end of the movie, when you get Jason back, everybody goes, oh, man, that was really good. We get Jason back, almost like it's a present. And it feels like in this Halloween movie, they kind of went a separate way of, well, we don't have a fucking story for the Shape. Let's take him away, introduce this new character, and then by the end, when you see Michael again, it's like, oh, the old school fans will be happy. It almost feels like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And and I think Friday the 13th Part 5, which is pretty much a porno with Jason in it, which is, because you literally, it's the guy who directed it was a softcore porn director, and the director of photography asked the producer, he's like, what do I do here? Because he wants to do all this crazy shit. And the producer just looked at him and goes, shoot it like a Pepsi commercial. He said that, of course, Jason's dead after Part 4, and they were trying to set up because they wanted Tommy to be the new killer, Tommy Jarvis. Well, it wasn't well received. They wanted to see Jason back. That's why the next movie in the title it says Jason Lives. But this movie, like, you have an imposter Jason in that movie. But it's almost like there's no way he should be that powerful as an imposter Jason, but he's pretty much just like Jason with a different hockey mask.
Yeah.
But that's what it feels like with Corey here.
It sucks. I mean, Part 5, at least, it still gets the mood of the movie right. Like it feels like a Friday the 13th movie, but it's not what you want. And then same thing here. Like I don't want to watch the ending of this trilogy that's supposedly going to cap off, 40 plus years of movie with Michael being gone half the time and another guy killing people. Like it's terrible.
It is, and it's hilarious. And me and Alex have talked about this. Like, there's a certain stretch in movies where they have, like, I don't know what it is about the cinematography or the camera work. It just feels older. When you watch the Friday the 13th movies from, like, 1 to 5, they feel like they're a lot older than Friday the 13th Part 6, even though that came out, like, a year later. Because the film just looks, like, newer in Friday the 13th Part 6. And with Halloween, it's like Halloween 1, 2, and 3 look the same. And then Halloween 4 looks way newer, even though it's only a couple years later. It's really weird. I don't know how to describe it. I guess film just changed during that time period.
There's just like a gauziness that's really kind of comforting in a movie, especially a slasher movie, I think.
Yeah, that's a perfect word. I couldn't think of anything. This is why Alex has a college degree. I don't, people. Excuse me. The congestion. This movie.
So something I wanted to bring up before we get too far along another tangent. Did you all notice that they try to like introduce this like metaphor between Corey's cut hand and like him becoming more and more like Michael? Like they use his infected cut as a metaphor.
Oh,
for,
no, I didn't even think about that.
Spreading.
Oh my God, that's so simple. I never thought of it. That's
right.
Perfect,
So like,
Cody.
Yeah.
He's like a the whimpering nerd. He cuts his hand. He gets introduced to Lori. Lori tells him, you want to do it or should I? With cutting the tire, and that sort of is like what kind of points him down the path of like slowly becoming more and more aggressive.
Now that you say that, there's a scene where they're up there on that radio tower, and she's like, "It's infected." And he goes,
"She's like,
I gotta get away because I'm Batman."
I did wonder too, like in the doctor killing, he hits his hand and he unwraps the bandaging again. I'm like, man, what the hell is up with the hand? But that was my only thought about it.
Yeah, well, then Lori also gives him like a monologue. I think it's whenever she brings him back to the house or whatever. Remember, and she gives him like this whole speech about like how evil is like an infection that spreads through you.
No,
or whatever.
he goes to the house to sleep. That's the house where he killed that kid accidentally, and then she's just in the house watching him, and she wakes him up by like knocking the chair into the wall.
Yeah, and then she gives him the speech, right? That's where she tells him about like evil spreading like an infection, and it's like, oh, but then it doesn't really feel like, if that is what they were going for, it doesn't really feel like it was done all that well, and it didn't really like pay off, because again, like it doesn't matter when you already know that he's the one going around killing people. That could have been an aspect that did play well if we didn't know that he was the one killing.
Yeah, I was telling Lance, and I think
I just wanted to bring it up because that's something I noticed.
You're kind of in the same boat. There's a lot of interesting ideas in this movie that I think could have made for a good movie if it was I think executed better, and it wasn't the last movie in the series.
Yeah. And we also talked about this. Corey, to me, felt more like Norman Bates because his mother was so overwhelming. Like, it felt like if you go back and watch the older Psycho movies and you hear, like, this is obviously Norman's version of mother talking to himself, but she's like, you're not messing around with filthy girls again. And this mother's the same way. Who you texting? And all this other shit. And it's like, okay, it's a little crazy. You feel bad for him in that part, but also it's like, we're talking about the whole, like, okay, this isn't the real killer like in Psycho 2. You think it's Norman. And even Norman doesn't know because he's confused and he blacks out when he becomes mother. Well, it turns out, and this is what they did in the 80s because of Empire Strikes Back, Norman has a real mother. And then she's the one that was doing the killing at the movie and nobody expects it. And it's like, oh, okay, that's a really good ending. And then he kills that mother and makes her mother as well. So it's kind of weird anyway. But like this movie, it's like, when he takes over doing the mask stuff, and he even looks like Michael. Like, I don't even know where he gets the fucking blue jumpsuit at. I guess at the mechanic shop he works with. But he shouldn't be able to stomp in a girl's head. And I will say I thought it was kind of cool that smartass that kept fucking with him, that he took the blowtorch to his mouth. I thought that was pretty cool. That's probably another kill I like. That's probably my favorite Corey kill, to be honest with you.
That's probably the only kill that I feel like was
deserved.
Yeah,
well, all four of those kids were punks.
or like unique.
Well, and then you have
that's one of my notes. One of my notes is that the bullies are like very cringy. I mean, just over the top, like 1950s bullies, sort of.
And then you have the fourth girl who is like, "Oh, we shouldn't be doing this the whole time." It just feels like, okay, that's nice of a character to have. Who cares?
All right, Cody, let's go over. Just read off some of your notes, and we'll try to chime in because we got probably like 25 minutes left of Alex's time. So let's go ahead and get through your notes. Because
I want to say one other kill too. We didn't touch on is the DJ kill.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then he cuts out
God,
guy's tongue. That was pretty
fucking rough.
Oh yeah, with the tongue.
No, that was that. I'll give him credit. That was kind of gruesome, and I enjoyed it. I just wasn't expecting. He was like, "Ooh," and his tongue's hanging out. It just like slices him and he cuts it in 2 slices. I'm like, that's pretty good scissors, to be honest with you. And then when he drops his face down, he goes, "Scissor me, daddy ass."
So yeah, I think I've covered most of my notes. There's only a few that I didn't go over, but the ones I didn't go over, let's see, the diner man going into the hole. When the guy follows him from the diner,
the cop,
and that's and he like leads him into the thing, and he like holds him while Michael kills him or whatever. The thought that crossed my mind is like, why is he even going in there? Like, he was just attacked. This also plays into one of my another note I made is like, why are people so fucking stupid in these movies? Like, that's the thing that gets me about slasher movies. If it plays into like the kind of like the corniness and like, oh, it's a fun slasher movie, that's fine. But when it's a movie like this and the characters are so stupid that they die like in situations that they probably shouldn't have, he should have never followed him in the hole or went in the hole in the first place, because I don't even think he saw him go in there. He's just like, oh, look, a big hole. I'm going to go in here. And then, like later on, there's like the guy that gets shot by one of the bullies or whatever. Because he like stands up and he's like standing there for like several seconds before the trigger's pulled.
And that's his uncle,
like, really,
that kind of the heavy set guy that runs the shop and he lives with his mother. That's his uncle.
Yeah.
I didn't find that out until I looked at the Wikipedia article.
Oh, I just thought it was a stepdad.
I know, I did too. It's really freaking weird, but evidently it's his uncle. And then when that kid says, "I got you in my sights," I don't know if his uncle seen Corey. I think he did see Corey, but he looked at him, put his hands up, and it's almost like he was trying to protect Corey when he stood up. And he gets his brains blown out.
But even then, he stands up and he's like standing there for several seconds. Like, there's plenty of time for the kid not to.
And that kid couldn't change his own tire. I don't think he would have that good of a shot with a shotgun.
Yeah, no kidding.
If we're going realistic, here,
yeah, that's true too. Also, another note I made about the infected hand, it also is on the same side of his body as Michael's injured hand.
Okay.
That's just something I noticed. I don't know if it matters, but...
can we go back to the note about the cop in the sewer? What's funny to me, and I don't know if you've seen the original RoboCop, Cody. Have you seen it, Alex?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, have you seen it, Cody, the original RoboCop?
I think I have, but it's been a long time.
Well, there's a scene. I always remember it. It's the guy in the van when he drives into the toxic waste, and he comes out, and his skin's melting, and he's walking all hunchback and shit, and he gets run over by a car. When Michael's walking in the sewer, he's walking like that dude. He's like he's got a limp in his hand and shit. I'm like, this dude's just been in the sewer. It's not like he's been fighting somebody. And then the cop actually kicks Michael off, and Michael struggles to get up. And then that's when the guy's like, "Show me how to kill him." It's like,
that's because Michael ran into the ninja
I wonder which one kicked his ass. I bet it was Michelangelo, the pussy of them all. So, oh my god.
So, the only other note I really have is when Lori is fighting Michael and she like throws a refrigerator down on him. it crossed my mind that she was going to climb on top of it and like give him an elbow shot from the top of the refrigerator.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
That is even better because I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, she's got him pinned down. Is she about to take his pants off? Like, I'm about to suck your dick now. Let's get this out of the way. And then when the refrigerator collapses on him, it hits him right in the dick. I'm like, that would have been the one time Michael should have went like, ooh, you know.
One thing that I thought I almost thought they were going this way was when Laurie called in a suicide call too, and it was actually a trap. But I was like, man, is this really what they're gonna do? Because they're doing so much stupid stuff. It would not have surprised me if Laurie just killed herself and that was it for Laurie.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead, Cody.
I guess because it was actually kind of convincing, like her leading into it. I was like, oh man, like I'm in the same boat with you. Like, is this really what they're about to do?
And it wouldn't surprise me if the trailers were all just like to swerve people either.
But I think that would I am glad that we got that it didn't end up that way and that we did end up actually getting Laurie killing Michael, because that's what I've wanted during this whole trilogy, is it ending that way. I just wish the lead up was better.
Cody, if you ever watched Halloween H2O, before they retcon it in Resurrection, people left the theater thinking Michael got his head cut off, and that was probably the most satisfying movie, because at that point, I mean, I didn't realize it as a kid because they didn't say it outright, but Halloween H2O just ignored all the other sequels, and it was just 1, 2, and H2O. I was thinking H2O was still part of like the other trilogy, the 4, 5, and 6. I'm like, why aren't they mentioning her daughter? This is fucking weird. But it's the most satisfying conclusion because she cuts. Like, there's a moment, like I said, to me, I don't mind Michael being supernatural, and to me, I'd rather him and Laurie be brother and sister, like in the original storyline, because that moment in H2O just means more. Like, she's been living in fear for 20 years, and there's a moment when Michael's pinned against the tree. He's reaching out to her like he's asking for help, and she's about to, like, and it shows it's really cool. It's like, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. They're almost touching hands, but then she remembers this isn't her brother. This is just, he's a killer, and then she cuts his fucking head off. And everybody, like, when that happened, like, audibly just clapped. They loved it. And I think that right there, when you keep revisiting it, like, okay, Laurie versus Michael, it loses the meaning of it. You keep, it's more important if you see Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, or John Cena versus The Rock versus John Cena versus Randy Orton, because it happens every Raw and on pay-per-views. So when you keep going back to it, it loses its special. Like this whole thing when Michael gets killed at the end and they put him in the cheese grater, and he gets folded up like a fucking, like a blow-up doll. It's really fucking hilarious. And you can tell it's a doll, but you see all this blood gushing up. I'm like, okay, Michael's really dead, but it's fucking hilarious.
And his head also.
it does. I'm like, they really, like, that guy was already bald anyway, but they got the red. He looked like he had the mange almost.
I think with the H2O, like, because they both, you have Laurie getting him, being able to trap him, and then killing him. H2O is chop his head off with an axe, and this is cut his throat and wrist and let him slowly bleed out. Like, that is not very satisfying.
And then let's have a funeral procession, which is fine. I will say, but it's just kind of ridiculous. Like, everybody, the plot in Filmoscopy, the plot in Wikipedia says that everybody in the town has turned against Laurie because they blame her. You only see, like, for Michael coming back, you only see one example of that with the two ladies outside of the grocery store, and it's the one lady who had the fluorescent light bulb shoved in her throat in Halloween Kills. But it's like, let's let the whole town see that Michael's dead, and everybody gets in their car and follows him down. I'm like, this is just really fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's like,
it was weird. But I will say, at least they did it in a way that, like, there is no way for them to retcon this to where it makes any sense, because she unmasked him, killed him, and they fed his body into that crusher. So, like, if they decide that, because obviously they're going to make another movie. Let's not kid ourselves here. But if for some reason they decide to go back to David Gordon Green to do another movie, there's no way in hell they can retcon it.
I extremely doubt that David's going to do another one, just because he probably doesn't like the fan backlash, and most people don't like going back to the same property more than once.
Yeah.
Well, and he's supposedly doing Exorcist, right?
Or they could bring him on to do a sequel.
Oh boy,
is that he's doing the Exorcist?
He's going to do an Exorcist trilogy apparently.
I see. I heard that Blumhouse was going to do like a reboot or a remake of The Exorcist or something like that. But I didn't realize he was involved.
Well, I mean, he's a good director.
I was going to make a joke. I was going to make a joke saying,
like, Ryan Johnson.
all his movies are well made. Technically speaking, well made, but obviously not story wise or anything.
Yeah, and it's like,
right.
I just like, we talked about the Ryan Johnson thing before, and my biggest thing was I'd rather have seen Ryan Johnson get his own trilogy of Star Wars movies and create something new. Don't give him a property because he wanted to change it, like just for the sake of changing it. And I feel like most guys have a hard time balancing, okay, let's redo this property in a way we see fit that's going to make the fans happy, versus just because you can't win. There's going to be half the fan base that thinks you just spit in their face, and the other one thinks, oh, this is really great and it's progressive and edgy. But I think that someone like him probably does better when he makes up the product instead of having to follow guidelines. Does that make sense? Like he's having to take over somebody else's work, and he probably does better with his own stuff,
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll bring him on to do a direct sequel to Halloween 3.
And everybody was like, I've seen people on Twitter, it's like, oh, they're using the Halloween 3 font for this movie. This is going to be great. And they're comparing it to that movie. Nuh-uh, this ain't it. Okay? Halloween 3 was its own thing. And shame on the producers and the people who made up the title. It should not have been called Halloween 3, but they knew what they were doing. They were trying to. They were catfishing people. Like,
it's
funny Halloween 3.
Yeah, it's funny they even use the font. It's funny they use the font in this at all because like the Shamrock masks don't even show up in this.
Yeah,
movie.
which is
they showed up in Kills.
They're also in 2018, I think. Also, like you see, like kids wearing like the witch and the stuff like that. When I like those little references to it, that's cool. But Halloween 3 by itself, and it's hard to do a ranking and put that movie in the Halloween movie because it should be on its own and it should be celebrated. But they literally put that in the title because they were trying to, and it wasn't a term then, they were trying to catfish you. And this trailer for this movie, I feel like catfishes you because there's like 2 or 3 scenes that you see Michael in versus Laurie, but they're really Corey and Michael's mask. Like the main scene in the trailer is
and then
Michael
it's all
opens
like
up the door.
At the end of the movie, that's what they're showing is the final fight. Nothing else leading up to it.
I know, and it's like, where's the rest of this movie? And it's like, well, that actually wasn't it. And it's like, I don't know why studios, when they make trailers, put all the great shit in a thing, and you're like, oh, okay, I've seen this in the trailer. It's like, and it's not different. I would see things in trailers when I was younger, and it would be completely different in a movie. That's how it's supposed to be, But all movie studios seem to struggle with doing trailers and all that.
They should have had Tom Atkins' character from Halloween 3 show up though and be like, "Have you guys seen these masks?" And then everybody be confused, and then he just disappears.
That would be great. What if the homeless guy underneath the bridge was Tom Atkins? Goes, I tried to save millions of kids. It didn't work. I need his mask.
That would have been awesome.
Oh man.
Real quick, before we get to, because me and Alex are gonna put our rankings out real quick of the movies, and Cody can do it one day if he ever watches all the movies. Alex, did you have any more thoughts? Anything we didn't cover in the movie so far that was like something that popped in your mind? You're like, oh, let me get this out real quick.
Yeah, one thing that I thought too, because thinking of what they're trying to say in the movie, I thought too maybe it was even them making a comment about rebooting movies, like having Corey be a new killer and stuff, and then they kill him off. Like you always have to go back to the original thing, and it just seemed like I liked some of the ideas. Like I was telling Kristen, I kind of enjoyed the way the movie started, like the babysitting scene and everything was good, but everything that they tried to execute with Corey just didn't work. And I know you were saying that you're gonna be really negative. I think I'm coming across pretty negative, but I there was a version of this movie that I think could have been more fun.
Yes, and I think like you're looking at it independent of the fact that it's the finale to a trilogy.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing that drags it down.
Yeah, I don't think I would have hated this movie if this was part 2. Because there would have been something else, like we talked about earlier. I think truly the reason why I hate this movie, and I wouldn't say hate, I'm pretty indifferent to it. I hate the fact that everybody's praising this movie because I don't think it deserves as much praise. I am indifferent to the movie because overall it's just kind of boring. Just like Jurassic World Dominion is a 2 hour and 40-minute movie with 2 hours and 10 minutes of locusts and then 25 minutes of dinosaurs. And it's like, we came here to see dinosaurs. It's Jurassic World. I came to a Halloween movie to see Michael, not to see somebody cosplay as Michael, but also have all Michael's powers. It doesn't make any sense. And the funny thing is, Corey wears, I didn't even just put this together, he wears a clown mask when he's killing the doctor. Like Michael as a kid. It's almost like he wanted to graduate to Michael's mask, like Michael did.
Totally,
Because Michael had a clown mask when he killed his sister, So, it's just, it's a frustrating
It wasn't
movie.
a clown mask. It was a...
It's not anything I feel like I have a desire to go back. I've watched it twice already, and I don't know if that's going to change, which is kind of depressing because I love this franchise.
And that's, I know we're going to talk about our rankings and not to spoil my rankings, but with Kills, I finished the movie and I was like, God, I disliked that movie. This one I finished it and I was just like, well, that was very disappointing. It was not the same feeling, even though neither of them lived up to expectations.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, my ranking's a little different, but if you had to put them together, it would be like I dislike this one 1A, and I like this one, dislike this one like 1C. It's all in the same bracket, but it's just a little off for me. I guess we'll go ahead and do our. I'm sure people will understand it. We'll go ahead and go around the table and do recommendations. Alex, would you recommend this movie?
I think if you've been watching them, you might as well watch it, but otherwise, no. I would not watch this movie. I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. Cody, sir, how would you go about recommending this movie?
Yeah, I mean, Alex put it exactly how I was wanting to put it myself. If you've already watched the other ones, you may as well go ahead and watch it. I wouldn't go to the theater and watch it. Just watch it on Peacock if you can. But otherwise, just don't bother. It's really not worth it.
And I have to go with that too. If you're going to watch Halloween movies, I would watch Halloween 1, 2, 4, H2O, and probably 2018. This movie, I think 2018 ends on a better note. Just like I understand that movie, I feel like that movie is just kind of a ripoff of the other Halloween movies. But watching it, if you go and watch Halloween 2018, you're kind of filled with hope. Like, okay, this might be the beginning of something great. And then by Halloween Kills, your enthusiasm is just tapered off. And then by Ends, it's almost like Old Yeller. You just want to put him down behind the barn with a shotgun. And, to me, that's what mimics the Star Wars sequel trilogy, because that's how I felt. I loved, at first I didn't like it, and then I kind of talked myself into liking it after Alex and I had discussions about The Force Awakens. And then The Last Jedi I absolutely hated, and then by the time I watched it again, it was like, it's okay. And then I liked Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker or whatever. I liked it when it first came out, but, when I rewatch it, I realize it's a fucking mess, and it's just kind of depressing. And this movie, it's just kind of like, it's not a mess, but it is very boring, and you never want that to be in the finale of a trilogy. Is fucking boring. Because let me tell you something. This isn't a director's cut of Lord of the Rings. Okay? This isn't a 4-hour movie. But watching it, sometimes it kind of feels like a 4-hour movie. And you don't know what the fuck you're watching because there's no Michael Myers. So, I don't recommend it, even if you're a fan and you've been watching this stuff. Just stop at 2018 and don't go any further. But if you like punishing yourself, you can watch Kills and you can watch this one and just be like, yeah, they were right. And I felt like I just kicked myself in the nuts. I guess since Alex is the guest host, sir, you'd like to go ahead and go over your ranking of all. I guess we're at movie 12 now. 12 Halloween movies?
Yeah. Do you want me
13?
Yeah, 13. Do you want me to start? I'll start from the bottom and work my way up to my favorite.
You can go from the bottom, work your way to the top.
So my least favorite, I'm just gonna put them together, are the Rob Zombie Halloweens. I ranked his sequel a little lower just because I think the first one stays more true to the story, but they're no fun to watch. So that's 13 and 12 for me. Halloween Resurrection at 11. Busta Rhymes one that we talked about. It's not a good movie. Halloween Kills is 10. And Halloween Ends is right above it at 9. So I did like Ends more than Kills, but they're both pretty low on my rankings. 8 is Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Me and Lance, I know, talked about it. It's still a fun movie, even if it's off the rails and doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes. 7 for me is Halloween 4. I know Halloween fans love Halloween 4, and I do like Halloween 4, but to me, the ones above the list, I like more. 6 is where I'd put Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, but you're right, Lance, it's hard to fit in there. It's not the same story, obviously, but it's not even the same type of movie, so it's hard to fit in there. 5, Halloween H2O. 4 is where I put Halloween 2018. I do like 2018 more than H2O, but they're both really good, I think. Number 3 is, maybe I'm a little crazy, Halloween 5 for me. There's a lot I like about it.
Man.
It's not a good movie, but I think about scenes from it, and they're just so much fun, and it's a fun movie to watch. Number 2, Halloween 2. It's the best sequel. And number 1, Halloween 1.
Hell yeah, that's a great ranking. And I'm looking at the ranking I sent to Alex, and I realized I completely missed Halloween H2O because I can't fucking count. So we'll go from my list. Ranking at number 13 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. That is a fucking miserable movie, and there's a reason why it only did $19 million at the box office. Number 12 is Zombie's Halloween 1. Which, like I said, those movies are devoid of any kind of happiness, and it's just, there's not even any humor that's good. Like Devil's Rejects, one of Zombies' movies, is actually funny. That movie was not funny. Hot take, so that was 13, 12. Ranking number 11 is going to be Halloween Ends, this movie. And then, because of the reasons I've mentioned. So, number 10 is going to be Halloween Resurrection. Busta Rhymes. Trick or treat. Motherfucker. And there's a great moment in that movie where they take power cords that have been severed and they put them into Michael's nuts. And Michael makes the first noise other than breathing ever in a Halloween movie. He's like, ooh. So, after before Halloween Resurrection, so that's, 13, 12, 11. Fuck. My screen went off. 13, 12, 11, 10. So number 9 is going to be Halloween Kills. Because I think now I can go back and rewatch this movie and laugh at it because of all the evil dies tonight and it trying to be too fucking serious. And then, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Okay, so number 8 is going to be Halloween 5. I think that I just dislike a lot of the movie. Not because, it's not a great movie like Alex said. I know he's a big fan of it. It does feel like a Friday the 13th movie in a good way, but the other stuff just kind of falls off. And then my next ranking after Halloween 5 is going to be Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, a.k.a. Halloween 6. I have this movie ranked so high on the list because Paul Rudd, this is like his second movie he acted in, but it was released before the Sweet 16 movie or whatever. So this is technically his first acting role. And Paul Rudd is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so I love him.
He's great in it, too.
He's awesome. There's a scene where he's trying to get this girl out of this room that she's been locked in out of, and Michael shows up at the hall. And he plays Tommy Doyle, which is the little boy from Halloween 1. And he looks at Michael, and he has this moment where he just pauses in fear, and he just looks like he just starts laughing. Like he's about to snap, but he's trying to get her out of this fucking room. It's a great fucking scene. After Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, I would say Halloween 2018. It is a fun Halloween movie, even though I feel like it steals its best stuff from the other Halloween sequels. Before Halloween 2018, I'm going to have to put Halloween H2O, because I did go see that in the movie theater with my grandmother, and I thought it was amazing when Michael got killed. It was just a fun movie, and it's an easy watch at like 80 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
So, ranking number 4, I have it so high up, is Halloween 3. And that's because that movie, my grandmother said she didn't like it. Michael wasn't in it. It was just this is the very basic thing. It's just Michael wasn't in the movie. And then I got a chance to watch it, and the ending, in the very Carpenter way that they do things, is a phenomenal fucking ending to that movie. With the doctor just yelling at the screen, "Stop it! Stop it!" And they're trying to get the commercials to stop. It's fucking great, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. My number 3 movie is Halloween 4. I truly believe, as bonkers as they are, and it's probably because they came first and I watched them first, I think the Thorn trilogy, which is Halloween's 4, 5, and 6, do a better job than the H2O Halloween Resurrection storyline and this Halloween 40 storyline. And then my number 2 movie, Halloween 2. That movie's just phenomenal, and I love it so much, and I think it's great. And I know it's more gorier, and a lot of people don't like that, but I still think, like Alex said, it captures the feeling of the original movie, even though it was like almost 4 years apart in filming. And I don't think the gore sacrifices anything, because at this point, it's escalation. They've already had 2 Friday the 13th movies since then, so you have to make Michael a bloodier killer at that point. And then number 1 is John Carpenter's classic Halloween. You can't beat the original. But if I was doing another Twitter poll and someone says what sequel's better than the first one, I would probably throw Halloween 2 out there along with Psycho 2. Not because I think they are better than the original movies. I just prefer to watch them over the originals, and I think they deserve more recognition. So there's our rankings, and hopefully one day in the next 10 years, Cody will watch all the movies, and then he can actually do a ranking. So
I am curious, out of all the ones you've seen, Cody, what's your favorite one?
Halloween 2018.
Oh, interesting.
And that's not a joke. I mean, I'll run, I won't give an explanation for each one, but I'll run through the ones I've seen so far. The way I would rank it is from bottom to top. Halloween Kills at the very bottom. Halloween Ends right over that. Then it would be Resurrection, and then I think I would do the original Halloween.
Damn.
Above that. And then Halloween 3 above the original, and then Halloween 2018 at the top. I didn't put the Rob Zombie one in there because I never actually finished watching it.
You're not missing anything.
But
yeah.
But yeah, and I know it's kind of controversial, but I'm like I said earlier in this episode, I didn't really grow up watching the Halloween movies. Before I was like an adult, I'd only ever completely seen Resurrection. So I don't have like an affinity for the classic Halloween, and I actually watched Halloween 2018 before I watched the original Halloween.
Okay, yeah.
But
yeah, that
not having the context of all the other sequels and stuff in there, I think maybe that's why I like 2018 so much more.
Yeah,
but
I agree with it because Savannah, she's watched all the Halloween movies with me, and if you're not beholden, you gotta get hit young with these movies, because most people are just gonna look at like the originals as like really boring. I was lucky enough with my grandmother; she introduced me to these movies, so I had a reverence for these movies before I even watched them. And when I watched them, I loved them just as much as I thought I would. So it is like, if you're introduced to it way later, you're gonna think it's boring. I remember, Cody watched Psycho after he watched Psycho 2, because I showed him Psycho 2. But I knew if I showed him Psycho, he would have been bored of it because it's black and white and, it's not really his style of movie. But I think you had to watch Psycho for a movie class in college, right, Cody?
Yeah, for my intro to film class, Psycho was one of the required viewings, which I like Psycho, but I do like Psycho 2 more.
Because I also think it's because it's the first one you watched. So if because I showed Cody like Psycho 2, Halloween 3, and The Thing, and it's like
that definitely goes a long way in forming opinions of things is like the first one you see. It doesn't always work out that way, but like if it's a good one, I think it sticks.
Yeah, I mean, a funny story just relating to that sort of situation. This is about a video game, but when I was a kid, Resident Evil was like probably the most popular horror game when we were growing up. And I remember I had a bunch of friends that were like, "Oh yeah, Resident Evil's like so great, Resident Evil." Well, I guess I don't know how I got a hold of it. Maybe I'd asked my dad for Resident Evil or something, but I ended up getting a copy of Resident Evil Survivor, which is a really terrible first-person Resident Evil game on the PS1. And I remember playing it as a kid and being like, "This is awful. I don't know why everyone likes this so much." And then I never touched another Resident Evil game until Resident Evil 5. So it was like, it's that also is like just something, it made me think of it because it's like something that people hold in such high regard. And like, because I never played those games until way, 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 way later, I know I don't hold them in such a high regard because I still enjoy Resident Evil 5 more than, honestly, more than like the first 4 Resident Evil games.
Interesting. Yeah.
But it's probably,
I have that way with
you know.
music, like the CDs of bands that I like a lot that came out when I was a teenager. Like fans are like, "Oh, those ones sucked. The earlier albums were better," but I like those albums because they were the ones I listened to. So
those are the ones you fell in love with,
Yeah.
It's really funny when Cody said it might be controversial about his rankings, and I always go back to this line I heard from a comedian, and this guy's named Gary Muledeer. He's like a Southern comedian, but he said his granddad told him one time, "Well, if we all like the same thing, everybody be after your grandmother." So so it's one of those things. It's like it's better if we have differing opinions, and I feel like I've gotten better from my days where I used to attack people for their opinions, like, "No, fuck you, you're wrong," to like, "Okay, well, Cody, you can go on about it, but I'm gonna tell you you're wrong." So, but I'm more passive aggressive instead of aggressive about my opinions. So,
yeah. To quote one of the best movies ever made, Silent Hill Revelation.
God,
fuck Facebook, do you? So.
I will say, listening to how upset you were with Clerks, I was like, man, Cody is wrong. I love Clerks.
Yeah, man, that I was actually. I think a lot of that anger kind of just came from disappointment because I'd heard for so long that Clerks is such a great movie, and I'm watching it as like I just don't understand what people see in this movie.
Because you're thinking something like grander,
and it made me angry.
Kind of stripped down independent movie that became a sleeper hit, So
yeah, well, for anyone who's listening to this episode that hasn't listened to our Clerks episode, go back and listen to it because I think I rant quite a bit in that episode about my dislike.
And I rant pretty well my dislike of customers in general. So it's a
good
pretty
episode,
fun episode. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and close it up. We kept Alex over about 6 minutes. Alex, thank you for taking over the heavy reins left by Owen. It's like, oh God, it's so hard to pick up his slack. I'm just kidding. Owen literally does no. He does no information reviews himself. He's just like, I will do this movie. And he comes in and he goes, let me read off the Wikipedia page. He does nothing, no preparation for it. It's great.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then sometimes you'll find out, like, hey, let's do the podcast. Let's do it 10 minutes before. Let's change the movie. Like, Owen?
Yeah, thanks, guys, for having me, too. It was a lot of fun. I haven't, because we haven't been podcasting lately. I'll take 3. This is good to get back into it. So if you guys ever need an extra mic, let me know. I'll hop on.
Well, next time we do a movie I think you might be interested in, I'll invite you. Like, I don't want to sit there and invite you for something like, hey, we're going to do Home Alone 3 because Cody likes it. And I'll be like, you can go ahead and skip it.
Ooh, I like Home Alone 3.
I do not like Home Alone 3.
We got another movie in a couple months. We're doing Morbius if you want to get on there with me.
No, I'm good. I'll pass on that one.
Like I said, thank you to Alex. This was absolutely awesome. It's great to have him on the podcast. Cody, thank you for doing all your hard work because I know you're going to release this episode in 2 days. And everybody, as always, finish him. That's it. Bye.
See ya.
Oh God, that was great.